At long last, we've got it. The full 2026 49ers schedule. I can tell you that the Broncos are coming to Levi Stadium in week 4. The more civilized horses behind me are going to listen to the rest of the reveal. 49ers start with 3 of 4 games at home, and they finish with 3 of 4 games on the road. So missed balance there. And of course, the opener is all the way out in Australia, which is part of the 38,000 plus miles, an NFL record that the 49ers will travel in the air this season. But the opener against the Los Angeles Rams, then come the 3 home games against the Dolphins, the Cardinals, and the Denver Broncos. All afternoon games at Levi Stadium stretching from September 20th to October 4th. So if you're worried about melting in the sun on that east side of the stadium, well, the NFL is not worried about it. The NFL went ahead and gave the 49ers 3 games in late September and early October. To add to the concern here for the 49ers, 2 of those games are against opponents who should be pretty well acclimated to the heat. Arizona and Miami, they're both from warm weather climates, and we saw in 2024 it was 102 degrees down on the field at Levi Stadium in early October. I believe it was an October 1st game or a late September game, and the Cardinals wore the 49ers down in the 4th quarter. So we normally see the NFL try to give the 49ers either night games or road games early on, but they gave them 3 straight home games to open the season. Then you move to October 11th. That is back to the road at Seattle. That is also Fleet Week in San Francisco. I'm just happy the 49ers aren't playing on the East Coast. You can enjoy the Blue Angels on Saturday, fly up to Seattle on Saturday night or Sunday morning, but the rematch with the Seattle Seahawks is going to be an afternoon game in week 5. Primetime game number 2. 2 of 5 primetime games. Will it be the Brandon Ayuk revenge game? Who knows? Who knows what the hell's going on there? But the Washington Commanders are coming to Levi Stadium in week 6 for Monday Night Football. So 1 day of extra rest ahead of the game against the Commanders for San Francisco. Then it is off to Atlanta for the 49ers to take on the Falcons, and that game is right ahead of the bye week, which falls in week 8, which you can argue is better than a week 3 or week 4 bye. I think it was a week 3 bye the 49ers had in 2019. Way too early. This one at least comes about halfway through the season. That said, if the Falcons aren't any good, if the Raiders aren't any good, then the bye week, it doesn't really help the 49ers prepare for a premium opponent because it's the Raiders who are coming to Levi Stadium back to the Bay Area following that bye week. That game is going to be on November 8th. Then it is the big trip to Dallas for the 49ers to face the Cowboys. First time they've been at Jerry World in Arlington since they won that playoff game in the 2021 season. Dallas will lead straight into Mexico City on November 22nd. That's against the Vikings, the Jawan Jennings potential revenge game. So the 49ers might actually, they could go straight from Dallas to Colorado Springs. I would assume they want to stop by home for at least a couple of days after they play the Cowboys. So that's probably going to be the case. But they'll jet off to Colorado to get some altitude training in because Mexico City is over 7,000 feet above sea level. So last time they were in Mexico City in 2022 against the Cardinals, the 49ers trained in Colorado Springs at the Air Force Academy. I would expect them to do that in between Dallas and Minnesota. Then they come home, and as you can tell, this seems like a brutal stretch against some good football teams. Cowboys expected to be good. The Vikings should have at least a powerful offense, and they had a good defense last year. The Seahawks come into Levi Stadium on Sunday, November 29th. That is after the game at Mexico City. Then cross country to New York, December 6th. Back home against the Rams, December 13th. Then you enter the 3 road games over the final 4 of the regular season. At the Chargers, that's Thursday Night Football. That is primetime game number 4. At the Chiefs, extra rest, since that's coming off of a Thursday night, so extra rest against the Chiefs, something the 49ers won't say no to, but that is right after Christmas at Arrowhead. Back home on January 3rd after New Year's to play the Eagles on Sunday Night Football. That's primetime game 5 out of 5. And then at the Cardinals on either Saturday or Sunday. That is going to be either January 9th or 10th to close the season. Preseason slate, Tennessee at home at the Chargers, SoFi. So the 49ers 2 trips to face the Chargers at SoFi this season. It makes up for the SoFi trip that isn't going to happen because they're playing the Rams in Australia. And at the Raiders at Allegiant Stadium. So the Raiders are coming to the Bay Area and the 49ers are going to Las Vegas. Now, I highly, highly doubt that San Francisco will hold a joint practice with either the Chargers or the Raiders, since both of those 2 teams are actually on their regular season schedule. What's going to be most important about this schedule, and numbers are going to be crunched very soon, is the net rest differential. And you can't know the net rest differential until you are well aware of the other schedules around the league, because you want to know how your rest stacks up on a week-by-week basis. For example, the 49ers get to play the Chiefs on extra rest since they played the Chargers on Thursday night the week before. So that should be a positive net rest differential for the 49ers, unless Kansas City is coming off of a bye week. Well, that's going to be something to watch across the entire schedule for the 49ers. Keep your eye on that number because it's essentially the most significant number that comes out of the schedule release day. We already knew exactly who the 49ers would be playing this year. We knew that the Broncos were on the schedule. We knew that the Chiefs were on the schedule. AFC West, we knew that the 49ers would be playing that third place schedule, right? That's where they finished last season in the NFC West. Now we know the timing, and soon, once the numbers are run on all the schedules, we'll know exactly how many rest days the 49ers have relative to their opponents specific to the schedule. In 2024, they got absolutely jobbed. They had the worst net rest differential that we had ever seen. In 2025, they had a positive net rest differential. And, well, the 49ers, I don't think that it's a coincidence. In either case, they had a losing record back in 2024, but a winning record, 13 games, including that playoff win over Philly in 2025. One thing the 49ers fans probably could be a little bit annoyed about is coming home from Australia. They play a Sunday game in the heat at Levi Stadium. The Rams get an extra day of rest coming home from Australia. The Rams, they don't play till Monday Night Football. There are a couple other schedule anomalies here that is outside the 49ers' purview, but the Rams and the Seahawks, they play in weeks 16 and 18, and then if they played again in the playoffs, say they played in the wild card round, it'd be 3 games in 4 weeks for the Rams and the Seahawks. So some misbalance that I just see in this NFL schedule. I'm only looking to the 49ers specifically to start this, and 3 home games out of 4 possible games at the start. That raises eyebrows given how hot Levi Stadium gets on that east side of the stands. And then, of course, 3 road games out of 4 possible games to conclude. Bye week right in the middle doesn't really help the 49ers if the Raiders are not a very good team. Maybe the Raiders will be surprisingly good, and the 49ers hope that they'll have that bye. I now wait for the net rest differential numbers, and I'll bring them to you. So hit the subscribe button so you're ready for those. We'll bring those to you as soon as we have them. And I also wait to see if the 49ers will venture into a joint practice with either the Chargers or the Raiders. Maybe they can run a joint practice with the Tennessee Titans after their preseason game against Tennessee. Would that be crazy? The preseason games mean so little now, and the practices mean more. That Titans preseason, though, that game is before they play the Chargers or the Raiders in the preseason. There's the 2026 schedule. Heard it here first. We'll talk to you soon.